Welcome to In a Heartbeat, coming to you today from the War Memorial in Grosse Pointe Farms at the studios of WMTV Channel 5. I'm Dr. David Balle, and I'm your host for In a Heartbeat. Today I am excited to have three special guests who are going to talk to us about the Guild as part of St. John Hospital and Medical Center. And I'd like to introduce each of them to you. We have Dr. Edouard Daher, we have the chair of the event, Greg DeMars, and we have the co-chair of the event, Sean Lane. Gentlemen, welcome to In a Heartbeat, and thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, for those viewers who may not necessarily know what it is, could you maybe tell us a little bit about what is the Guild?
Well, the Guild is a group of people. Historically, it was probably primarily professional men. It started in 1948, so we have a long legacy, a long history. So we're in our 70th anniversary. The Guild is a separate 501c3, not to get too technical, but it supports the hospital mission, St. John's Hospital at Mac and Ross. And our job is basically to help fundraise for the hospital as a separate organization, but affiliated with it. And so we have a group of professional people that get together, and we sponsor several events. Our largest event is called the Guild Dinner. It's, this will be our 58th Guild Dinner for the hospital. It's on May 23rd, so everybody mark their calendars and start sending their money in. We're looking for ticket sales, sponsorships, and advertising, and always looking to recruit new members who want to be part of this mission.
Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a has-been. I'm a retired lawyer, did it for 35 years. But now I'm reinventing myself. I'm doing some consulting work, I'm doing some charity work, and I'm on several boards. So I'm staying busy, just not the daily grind of practicing. I was a commercial lawyer by background at a large law firm downtown Detroit. Was there for almost 35 years.
Great. And Dr. Edouard Daher, why is the Guild important? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a cardiologist at Eastlake Cardiovascular, and I work primarily at St. John Hospital and Medical Center. I've been there for the past 12 years. I think, the reason I joined the Guild is, to be honest, to be connecting with the community that I work for and help support this community and improve the care of, at least from a cardiology standpoint, to the community. Working with these guys, I've been at the Guild for 3 years now. I'm really impressed by how things work and how we can raise money to hopefully support this hospital more and more. The mission of the Guild, as Greg has mentioned, has been to support the hospital, and every year there's some money dedicated to a certain program in the hospital. This year it's going to be dedicated to the surgical suite, so the Guild is providing money for buying 6 surgical suites for our surgeon. And every year there's a different department that benefit from it. A couple of years ago it was the cardiology department. And I think these are essential tools. Without it, the hospital cannot survive and be competitive with the rest of the hospital. So I think it's a very essential mission.
And Dr. Daher, I think you bring up a great point. Some people might imagine or not necessarily know that a lot of the special things that hospitals have, there aren't really funds for them. Right. With healthcare, current climate, the funds are declining reimbursement.
Yes.
And so to make things extra special for patients, to allow them to have the best of care, we need something like this in order to make that happen. Is that right?
Absolutely. And we face this on a day-by-day basis, to be honest with you. I am the director of the cath lab at St. John's, so I know firsthand how money is shorted, from a hospital, coming in. And if it wasn't for some money coming from outside as far as donation, a lot of the services that we offer in the hospital cannot be available. I give you an example. I think one of our members a couple of years ago had surgery, orthopedic surgery, and he wouldn't have been able to have it for his hip if it wasn't from a table that was given to the orthopedic surgery from the Guild. So a perfect example of how this things work, and we rely on donation. Hospital rely on donations and support, and so the Guild hopefully is a vehicle to support that.
And that really benefits all of us. So, Sean, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself. The Guild is celebrating its 70th year anniversary this year.
Well, I hope I didn't steal your thunder there, Doug.
And I would say, to what would you attribute its success? Why is it successful, and why do people want to be involved in it?
Well, first and foremost, I think if you've been impacted by the hospital in some way, shape, or form, this is an important charity for you. But number two, I would say it's pretty much a shoreline-based organization, meaning the Points, small section of Detroit going up into St. Clair Shores and Harrison Township. And I think that being I'm going to say the main hospital for our area, so to speak, there are plenty of benefits that come to and from being involved with the Guild. One, I would say, is the outreach that we give back to the community, i.e. we had purchased within the last 3 years vans, shuttle vans, for the community. And those go back and forth to the main campus. Each year we seem to have a new drive to bring in further knowledge of the Guild and our I would say our sister end of it, the Fun Bon. Mm-hmm. And then also each year we seem to get bigger and bigger with the community-based papers, Grosse Pointe News, C&G, they pick up on it, and that expands into more knowledge of what we are and what we do.
And this is for anybody who wants to answer. The Guild has at least 500 members. To what do you attribute its success, and people want it, to be involved that way?
Well, I think one is the history and the legacy of it. There's so many people before us set the foundation. There were a core group of guys that, and it was basically men, but we have women, we invite women members too today. But it was a core group of people who saw the need for the hospital in 1948. And the hospital was built a couple years after it was formed. Yep. And, to see that it was an important mission now, that mission has evolved. And one of the things, I've been on the Guild now, well, over 10 years. But one of the things that, for me, was really attracted is that St. John's Medical at Mack and Moross is probably the primary caregiver for a lot of poor people on the east side of Detroit. And without it, there'd be less service for these folks. I mean, emergency, whatever. And it's a major trauma center now. And unfortunately, we need a trauma center, but we do need it, and they provide it, and they do help a lot of poor people. So for me, that was very attractive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anybody want to answer this?
Yeah, I think I second what Greg said, because I see it on a day-to-day basis again, and our emergency room are filled with patients that cannot afford health care. And if it wasn't for St. John, these patients would be left without any care. And I think the Guild helps provide some of the, I wish it could provide, we always aim for more, we always want more, but even, with what we can do, the more we can do, the better it is, and the Guild, I think, offers a lot to support St. John, in that respect.
So this year, the 2018 Guild Dinner and Event is Wednesday, May 23rd at MGM Detroit Grand Casino. Tell us about what you have planned and how that evening will take place.
It'd be great for you.
Well, this year we will have comedian Bobby Collins as our entertainer. Roop Raj from Channel 2 will be our MC.
Sounds like fun already.
We will continue to extend the fantastic hors d'oeuvre section that we have each and every year, but right now, for this year, we're offering room packages along with a ticket if you're interested. You just have to contact the Guild office and they can get that in motion.
So you can have as much fun all night.
Exactly.
There you go.
And the great thing with MGM is, after the event, if you want to go to the casino, that's an option. If you want to go to the DAC or some other location downtown, that's at your fingertips. So working with MGM has been a very good experience for all of us.
And what time does the event start? And beside the entertainment, do you have any special things or raffles going on?
Well, currently we're raffling 2 tickets within the hospital for an employee to have the chance to win, or somebody to attend the dinner.
Oh, great.
And that's the first year we've implemented that. The dinner will start at roughly 7:30. Cocktail hour starts at 6. We have a pre-party for the honorees and the media and members of the board to attend. That roughly starts at about 5, and then we just move the festivities from the first floor up to the second floor ballroom.
Yeah, no, this is an important component of the event that kind of doesn't get overlooked but taken for granted. We do select each year 4 honorees or awardees, so people that are outstanding in the community and their commitment to the hospital, and that's really the drive or the thrust to have this dinner, is to acknowledge and to tell the world, hey, these guys have been great people, they've really helped out the mission, and we do have 4 classifications for the awards. We have the Philanthropic Award, which means somebody who's given a lot of money, but that's not the sole reason. We also have the Service Award, so it's a combination, maybe giving money, but also time. You have time, treasure, talent. We have the Doctor of the Year Award, which next year I'm going to nominate you.
Wow.
Especially if you give us a sponsorship. Especially if you give us a sponsorship.
Nice working. Nice working.
And then we have the Sister Vernice McQuaid Award, which is both a combination of philanthropic and service. So we got service, philanthropic, a combination thereof, and of course the doctors.
So for viewers who may not know, can you tell us a little bit about Sister Bernice McQuaid?
Well, she was one of the founders. Do you want to go? Or?
No.
Okay. Well, she was one of the founders. She was a nun from the Order of Sisters of St. John's, I think it was.
Yes.
And well, go ahead. You can.
I mean, I know that she has done a lot of work for our hospital and supported a lot of nursing initiative in the hospital, and she was a great care provider and role model for a lot of the nursing staff. So I think it's a great honor for anybody to be nominated and get her distinguished service.
Now, is this a surprise announcement at the
No,
event, or
no,
can you tell us who the honorees are this year?
Sure. You want to go ahead, Sean? Or
For this year, the Physician of the Year will be Louis Ceravolis of Grosse Pointe Shores. Michael Timmis will be the philanthropic. John DeWald, who happens to also be a board member, will be of Grosse Pointe Shores, will receive the Lifetime Achievement. And then Walter Saitaki, who is also a member of the Guild of Grosse Pointe Farms, will be awarded the Sister Vernice McQuaid Distinguished Service.
and you don't have to be a member to get the award.
Great, great, great people. It must be hard to choose every year.
It really is. We have a nomination committee, and we do it very seriously, and we don't have fistfights about it, but sometimes people take strong positions about who should be nominated, but it's a great process.
And I know you touched a little bit about some of the things that have been, maybe a couple of them that the Guild has supported in the past. Can you mention any others and how something like that
Well, so last year the
made
Guild
an impact or change?
Yeah, so last year the Guild has supported the renovation in the main lobby of the hospital, where I think we're going to have a great center for intermingling and coffee shop, but also in terms of hospital initiatives. In 2016 we supported the birthing center, which was a critical part in bringing the hospital up to a level of a first premier standard of care for neonatal care in this area, which doesn't exist, and St. John is the leading in this.
And Dr. Daher, you bring out a good point. These things not only help all aspects of the community, but they also help to credential the hospital in better and special ways that probably wouldn't have been achieved without that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so tell us what was done for the birthing center.
Well, I mean, they renovated the whole suite. So initially, I think we had like maybe 6 or 8 bed suite. Now we have a 24 bed suite, totally renovated, state-of-the-art equipment, state-of-the-art monitors, state-of-the-art everything. And I think it's been, really eye-opener. The year before that also, which I mentioned briefly, is this modular spine surgery table, which one of our own member had testified to that, and really.
And we should all keep that in mind. We may never know when we may be the beneficiary of these wonderful things that happen.
And in cardiology, I can say on a personal level, I mean, we've had a lot of equipment. As you know, these days equipments are so expensive that any ultrasound equipment, any catheter that you want to use are tremendously expensive. So without the help of some donation, we cannot.
That's a great point. Some of these things are hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, and it just doesn't float around.
Yeah.
So over the years, does anybody know, how much the Guild has raised? Like a rough ballpark figure?
17 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
amazing.
lot of money.
That's amazing.
It's all gone to the McMorross campus.
So this year, like, we're donating $150,000 basically for these tables that we're planning to.
Yeah, surgical operating tables. Yeah.
So if somebody's listening and wants to offer their support or help, what are the different ways that they can do that, and how do they go about? What are the means for doing that?
Well, they can buy a ticket to the event. There are two pricing levels. $300 will be the ticket price for 35 and over. We have a next generation ticket for the 21 to 35 age range, which is $175. If they can't go to the dinner, then we can encourage them for advertising and sponsorship opportunities within the program book, or extend it to our website or social media page. Or we will also offer an extension to the membership. Memberships start at as low as $50 per year.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody wants to come to the dinner, but maybe they can't, can they still make a donation? Who do they contact for that?
They will.
Is there a phone number?
The number they can contact is 313-343-3674, or they can go directly to our website, stjohnguild.org.
And maybe you've probably touched upon it a little bit already, but what would you say for each of you, maybe the being a part of the Guild is the most rewarding for you, and how would you inspire others to get involved?
Well, for me, it's just the get-it-done attitude. That's kind of my personality. I like to, I don't like to talk about stuff. I mean, we have to talk, but I like to see results. And the people there are result-driven. We know we want to accomplish something, and then we go about doing it. And it's a reflection of, I think, the people's their business acumen, their training, whatever. But we bring together a lot of diversity and skill diversity, and just diversity of people and personalities, and we get together and we accomplish something. And it's, within the St. John mission, which is, really a Catholic-driven mission, and I'm, just impressed by how their outreach is to really help people who are less off. I've been blessed, some of it my own doing, but, the Lord's blessed me with certain talents and abilities and opportunities, and so, at some point you say, look, you got to help other people out. And so this gives us the forum, and it gives us with a group of people that know how to get things done, at least from my perspective, and that's important to me.
To your point, I think people who have been blessed in many ways, often, and rightly so, feel a need. What can they do to give back, and what sort of legacy will they leave behind?
Right. Exactly.
And it's a great way to participate in that. Which one of you would like to go next?
Yeah, I mean, as Greg mentioned, I think it's a lot of us feel that we've been blessed in more ways than one to do what we're doing, and I feel that it's a major gratification to me on a personal level when I feel that we're achieving something in helping the community do what they couldn't do before, and the hospital too. So I think, and I know on a personal level also that both organizations need each other to help each other, and so I think the Guild plays an important role in supporting the hospital in what they need to do, and I feel that any little component that we can do to help in that is gratifying to me, and that's the reason why I joined the Guild 3 years ago.
What if and how about you? And I have another question.
Well, through a mutual friend, I was extended an invitation to attend a meeting. And as soon as I did, I knew this was an organization I wanted to be a part of. As a teenager, I had unexplained stomach bleeding, and they couldn't dial it in. And I spent a month at St. John's. From that point, the day I was going to be released from the hospital, I hemorrhaged again. And I was transferred to Sinai Grace. That's when it was called Sinai Grace. Mm-hmm. And I spent another 3 weeks there. But from Sinai to the St. John's experience, it was a night and day. Nothing against Sinai, but I felt at home at St. John's. And I knew if and when I could, I would want to give back to that organization. And that's why I am definitely a part of this.
So the Guild has this major dinner event every year. How often do you meet in general, and what are the different meeting venues?
Well, our meetings will, it's funny you bring that up, we just discussed this morning. The meetings will increase because we're getting closer to the dinner date. But we generally meet once a month after September. Okay. We give ourselves a summer break. After the dinner, we'll have a critique meeting it's usually at GPYC. This year it will be at Country Club of Detroit. We go over the dinner, the pluses and minuses, and then try and get a map for the next year's location. Are we going to stick with MGM? Do we want to look at other locations? What do we want to change? Comedian, MC, etc. And then we start going into the pre-planning and development for the golf outing, which will be at Lockmore September 10th of this year.
September 10th, the golf outing. It's really driven for the doctors. They like to think it's all about them, but anybody's welcome to participate. Yeah. I don't know if they count all their strokes, though.
Hopefully not.
Some of them are good players. So
I got some very good players that come to this golf outing. Yeah.
So they do count every stroke.
So you have the golf outing, you have the guild dinner. Are there any other events like that?
We did have a run, and we discussed that. We're probably not going to do that this year, but we're looking at other things that we would like to implement, especially within the hospital boundary. Mm-hmm. We were discussing a possible car show for an evening. We're still, we haven't even discussed this yet with St. John's to hold it at the parking lot, but that's another thing that we're looking at, and some other or not organizations, but other avenues that we want to approach.
Now, does the golf outing have its own special designation for what that will contribute to the guild fundraising efforts, or is it a part of what you're doing now?
It's part of what we're doing now, but I think the money goes back just in general circulation, mostly for the the medical group. I mean, I want to make it clear, it's just not for the doctors. We have a lot of non-doctors that participate in the golf outing. So there's a little rivalry there, the medical staff versus the non-medical staff. But the proceeds come in, and I think it's more used discretionary on how the proceeds are used, unlike where we dedicate it on the dinner to a particular improvement at the hospital.
What if somebody is watching and says, gosh, these are a great group of guys, and it's a great cause, and they feel a calling to be a part of it, but they just don't know anybody and would feel maybe funny of just, how do they get involved without necessarily knowing a contact person?
Go ahead, Dexter.
Well, I mean, I personally, like Sean was saying, I got invited by somebody in a group to come. But I think you can call, visit the website that Sean mentioned, the guild, stjohnguild.org, or call the number, 313-343-3674, and talk to Andrea Russell. She's our liaison there, right? And join that way.
She'll help to get you involved and pair you up and be a part of things.
Well, the other thing we're looking at and have discussed in recent weeks is not so much a membership drive, but a meet and greet at a local establishment within the points. We had our kickoff function at Churchill's on Mac. So they've been very generous to us and extended a great evening. So we're looking to pick a different location within the points for somebody.
It would be a comfortable, easy way to be a part of that. How do you choose, with probably so many needs, what the proceeds will go toward as the major fundraising event each year?
Well, what we do is we ask the hospital for a priority matrix. What are your needs? And then we have a subgroup as part of the dinner. We have a lot of committees on the dinner. This is, very well organized, and our group meets and we consider the requests made, because we get maybe 4 or 5 options that the hospital says, hey, we could use this, we could use that, and then we'll decide which one of those options that we think would be best for the hospital. Sometimes the hospital will prod us along a little bit and say, hey, we really would like you to do this, and of course we listen, but we have some fair amount of flexibility, and we'll just decide which improvement or capital event or capital item that we will help them with.
Does the guild event dinner for a designated target to raise money for, is it able to raise money for all of that goal or a part of it?
Well, the dinner is attended by more than 700 people, at least from last year, and we're hoping this year we're going to beat that record. But I think we generate enough money to be able to decide, like Greg was mentioning, on which, based on the priority that the hospital has sent us, which venue we're gonna
Yeah,
support.
but for example, though, we do try to target and then have all the money go there to achieve that target. But we're part of the neonatal. That was a huge, huge capital project. So we were one of several that contributed. The Van Anslander family, the Cracky-Old family. I don't want to miss anybody, but there's a number of people, the Fontbonne, we all contributed to that goal because it was such a large capital expansion.
I could see that. Well, we're going to be kind of winding down. Our time is winding down, and I'd like each of you to maybe have an opportunity to say, one more thing that you may want to get across to our viewers before we close.
You want to start with you, Doc?
Well, I think we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about the Guild. It's something close and dear to our heart. I think we're asking the community to come in and join us at this great party to support the Guild, because the Guild supports the hospital and the hospital supports the community. So I think it's a great cause, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody at the dinner on May 23rd and have a great time and have a lot of fun.
Great, great.
I would just like to thank you and the show for having us. And again, the one thing I want to reiterate is all are welcome. I want to make sure everybody knows that the Guild is here. It's not a closed society. We want to extend to the public. We want to extend to the hospital. So if you're interested, please call.
It's open to Guild members and anybody who wants to come and support and have fun.
Exactly. And the thing about it, I just want to say thank you, and I always watch your show anyways, so.
Well, thank you.
I'll watch it again now for sure. But for me, you get, you receive what you put in, and it's better to give than receive. And so I get a lot out of being in the Guild, but it is a great event, and it does go, simply stated, to a great cause. And surgical beds, how can anybody argue with that? When people come in and need surgery, they want the best equipment available for that.
We all want that for us and our loved ones and for our community, absolutely. Well, thank you, Sean.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Appreciate your information and sharing that with us today. And thank you to our viewers as well. As always, we appreciate that you watch our show. Take good care of yourselves and those around you, and have a great day. And show up at the Guild dinner. See you next time.